Welcome into historic Huff Hall. It's Big Ten Gymnastics with the University of Illinois Fighting Illini and the Michigan Wolverines. I'm Joey Gelman alongside my partner Nikki McGarrell, and tonight's meet really should be a good one, and the two teams are driven by their seniors. First for Michigan, we have Joanna Sampson. She posted a 9.975 on the bars last time out, 9.925 on the beam, with a 39.650 overall. So she's really someone to look out for. And when we look to Illinois, we look to Amber C. And Nikki, what does Amber present?
Amber presents a lot for this team, the Illini throughout all of her years, but especially last weekend, she won the all-around title with a 39.325. So that was awesome for the Illini. And she also scored a 9.825 on bars and a 9.9 on floor, which she also anchors for the Illini. So we just see great things from her and in the future.
Well, it should be a great one tonight. We'll have lineups in the first rotation coming up next.
The touch warm-up period for vault will now begin. The 4-minute 30-second touch warm-up period for vault will now begin. Fans, just a reminder, in gymnastics, the start value that's shown at the head judge's table is the highest possible score the gymnast can get if their routine is done perfectly. In gymnastics, the base score for a routine is a 9.5.
Welcome back into Huff Hall. Once again, I'm Joey Gelman alongside Nikki McGarrell. We have Big Ten Gymnastics with the Michigan Wolverines and Illinois Fighting Illini. As you take a look here for rotation 1, Michigan will be on the uneven bars. Illinois will start on the vault. We are in the touch period now. Looking at starting lineups for Illinois on the vault, we have Heather Foley, Elizabeth McNabb, Sarah Fiedler, Emily Lennon, Amber C., Gianna O'Connor, and for exhibition we have Erin Buchanan. For Michigan, we have Lindsay Williams, Sachi Suyama, Nicole Arts, Shelby Geese, Austin Shepard, Joanna Sampson, and Brooke Parker.
In the meantime, fans, as a reminder,
and when you get started for one of these meets, what's the mental preparation going into it? How do you suddenly get focused and are able to really compete here?
I think the biggest thing is you have to deal with the nerves, and you have to remember your consistency in practice, and what you've done in practice has prepared you. You just have to remember that you are out on the floor for a reason. The coaches wouldn't put you out there if you weren't ready. So I think just having confidence and knowing how consistent you are in practice has gotten you at this point in competition.
And as a former player for this Illini team, how important was it, and how much of an advantage is it to play in a place like Huff Hall?
It's a home environment, and that's what I love most about, competing here and coming here and having our fans. It's a great environment. It's not too big, it's not too small. It's a perfect fit for our sport.
You hear that a lot from every team that plays here in Illinois, whether it's volleyball, wrestling, gymnastics. They just say how much of a great atmosphere it is. And even though it's one of the smaller venues on Illinois' campus, it really is such an intimate feel. And while it's closing in on 80 years, 90 years old, it still serves as probably, if you're asking anyone from Illinois, one of the better places to be a part of any kind of sporting event.
Well, if you ask any gymnast on the Illini team, our home gym where we practice every day is over 100 years old. So it kind of transitioning from our practice gym to Huff Hall, it's not that big of a difference. It feels like home. It's the same environment feel to it. So that's what I find great about Huff Hall as well.
When you look to the lineups again, so we'll start with Illinois on the vault. You have Heather Foley, sophomore from Wisconsin, an all-arounder. Her career high for vault is a 9.85 at the Big Ten Championships last year in March. So look for her to get off to a quick start here for Illinois. And how important is it to start off with confidence, but also just making sure that you set a base for consistency for the rest of your team to follow?
Honestly, being first or last in the lineup is a great opportunity. You have to keep the consistency if you're in the middle. You have to start off the consistency in the beginning, and you have to finish on a note if you're towards the end. So any spot, but starting out in the lead spot is a great opportunity. You set the trend for the meet. You set the attitude that the rest of your teammates are going to have. So even though, you know, if you make a mistake, that's going to go into your teammates' head. So just making sure that you get your team off to a great start. It's a great responsibility. So that's one thing that those people can look forward to, is leading off their team.
When we were looking at the lineups earlier, you had mentioned it was a little interesting to see that Aaron Buchanan was an exhibition tonight and not in the lineup. So I guess, well, we don't know exactly what the change was or why it happened, but being one of the premier vaulters on this team, how big of a blow is that for this lineup?
To begin with, the vault lineup for the Illini is a little bit weaker, I would say, than Michigan. So having that in our top vaulter as the Illini, Erin Buchanan, I mean, only a freshman, but she came in and she's our anchor for vault. They will do fine, but we'll see how the scores go up. It depends how each girl does. Each girl is capable of putting a high score up. So if everyone just does their best, it won't impact them that much.
Great. And you have a Michigan team here that's 4-0, a really tough opponent coming in looking to keep their unbeaten streak, so we'll have to see how they fare. And like we've mentioned, a place like Huff Hall and the way the Illini have been going about their business lately should be a good one.
Definitely.
Illinois last time out against Iowa had a 196.475, and that's their highest score of the season. So I guess if you look at them, what would you take from last time out maybe that is something they really need to focus on tonight?
I think just taking mistakes from last weekend and improving this weekend. That's all they can do, is learn and compete.
Here's Heather Foley for the first one up for vault.
Awesome vault. She had a slight step to the side, but the Illini look happy about it. So hopefully they can keep up that momentum throughout the vault rotation.
Now we look to the bars with Lindsay Williams.
She did a handstand there. That's something judges will look for. You want to see a complete 180 handstand. There's another one. So far, a great routine for the Wolverines. And a slight step on the landing. But again, Michigan is happy.
Pretty good starts for both teams here. A 9.675, Heather Foley.
Up next on vault, we have Sarah Fiedler, a senior for the Illini. She just started getting in the vault lineup last year as a junior, so this is her second season in the vault lineup for the Illini. All-around good vault. That's what you can expect from Sarah. She had a step, but very consistent with how she does her vaults in practice and in competition.
Fiedler, a senior from Lake Zurich, Illinois, an all-arounder as well. Moving back to bars, we have Sasa Sugiyama for the Wolverines. She's a junior from Keller, Texas. 9.75 for Lindsay Williams.
She starts off with a good handstand and a mess up there. Let's see how she recovers. Smooth so far. Another hit handstand. Looks like she's going to attempt that skill again and does a great job with it. Stuck dismount. That was a great finish for Sashi.
Sarah Fiedler's score on vault for Illinois, 9.70. Now competing for the Illini, Emily Lennon.
Third up on vault, we have Emily Lennon. She's a freshman from Canada, and she'll compete the same vault as Sarah, but in a pike position. Slight step. We'll have a hard time deducting anything from her landing.
What was the difference between hers? Can you explain a little more with the different stuff?
The difference between Sarah Fiedler, who went second on vault for the Illini, and third on vault, Emily, who just went, is that Sarah Fiedler did it in a tuck position where her legs were bent, where Emily did it in more of a pike position where her legs were straight and extended.
When you were on vault, what was your style there? Was it more towards one of the others, one easier than the other?
I would say tuck would be, any position where you're more laid out is going to be harder. So usually the start value will go up higher as well.
Emily Lennon's score on vault for Illinois, 9.75.
Emily Lennon scoring a 9.75.
Sashi Sugiana's score for Michigan on uneven bars, 9.575.
On bars, we have Nicole Arts from Michigan.
Nicole Arts.
Here's that famous mount that we've been seeing more and more throughout gymnastics in college especially.
A 9.575 for Sugiyama on her last bar attempt. Why have we been seeing more of that certain style coming off starting with the bars? Is it a difference in just in the times, or is it an easier starting position?
I believe, and another stuck dismount, I believe that they're doing that mount for bonus, which will get them a higher all-around, and it's a quick skill. It doesn't take much energy, so that's kind of the goal, is just kind of get through a tough routine clean for college gymnastics. And on vault, we have Amber C., whose vault is very unique and does it phenomenally. That's what we saw last weekend, too.
Not a surprise here, as we mentioned in the Open, the senior leader of this team, and really proving her consistency early on here on the vault.
From the Michigan Wolverines, we have Shelby Geis, and she's also a senior, but one thing I love about her bars is how everything flows together. It's just, she has beautiful lines. That's what we like to call it in gymnastics, which means everything just comes together so easily. There's not a lot of breaks in her body angles.
Now competing for Michigan, Shelby Geis.
Slight hop, but the judges might count that as a stick.
9.825 for Amber C. on her last vault.
We have Gianna O'Connor, a sophomore from Illinois, competing next with a different type of vault called a Yurchenko. Awesome vault, slight hop. Smallest step / hop we've seen this entire rotation for the Illini, so that's great to see. The team seems thrilled about it.
The score on uneven bars for Shelby Geis of Michigan, 9.825.
9.825 for Shelby Geis.
Now is Austin Shepard for the Michigan Wolverines. It looks like from that mistake made by Sachi, nothing has affected Michigan's lineup with the girls after that, which is great to see.
Yeah, that's good to see. Short memories in this sport are very key, because as much as it's physical, it's tremendously staying focused and in the mental aspect.
You have no idea how mental this sport is. It's one of the hardest factors to get over while competing in this sport.
O'Connor 9.85.
And we have freshman Erin Buchanan, who is anchoring for the Illini. The same vault as Gianna O'Connor. With a great finish.
That's another Illinois stuff landed.
How much added pressure does that give when you have Buchanan on anchoring? Oh no, John O'Connor was anchoring.
No, actually it was Erin Buchanan, a freshman, yeah.
So how much more pressure does that give her then with Amber C doing it last weekend? Is there any added things when you're adding?
See, Erin Buchanan has been the anchor almost all year for the Illini. Amber C was the anchor for floor.
Okay.
Which both of them do a fabulous job doing. It looks like that mistake Shepard made, the 9.55, brought the Michigan score down. See if Michigan can get a strong finish from Joanna. Top all-arounder. Stuck dismount. Great job.
Austin Shepard's score on uneven bars for Michigan, 9.55.
9.55 for Shepard.
Joanna Sampson's score on uneven bars for the Wolverines, 9.75. Next up for Michigan, Brooke Parker.
Sorry, with some technical difficulties there with the last exhibition for the Wolverines with Brooke Parker on bars.
They usually put those exhibition spots just so girls can somehow make their way in lineup, and it gives them experience, which is great because throwing someone into a lineup who's never competed out on the floor in college gymnastics, that's a tough position to put them in mentally and physically, so it's nice to see that they do give those exhibition spots to girls who could possibly be in lineup. You never know what can happen. You always need, I mean, anything in life, but especially gymnastics, you need a plan B, and that's what those exhibition spots are for.
Absolutely, and for an upperclassman in that spot, is that sometimes an added incentive for them, as you know, because they're closing in?
It's definitely hard to be in an exhibition spot when when you're an upperclassman and you've competed on that event before, but it's also nice because you're there for the team. You want your team to do the best, and if you can't make that spot, then you work harder, and that's what makes the team better and strive for excellence.
That's the end of rotation 1. We'll have scores, lineups, and everything else for you right next.
The 4-minute 30-second touch warm-up for vault will now begin. The 4-minute 30-second touch warm-up period for vault will now begin. The 3-minute 30-second touch warm-up for uneven bars will now begin. The 3-minute 30-second touch warm-up for uneven bars will now begin. All right, fans, it's time for the Illini word scramble. Letters have been spread out face down on the floor, and our two contestants will have 30 seconds to find and correctly spell Illini. If our contestants can find and correctly spell Illini, they'll win Illinois t-shirts. Contestants, you guys ready? On your mark, get set, go! Looking for I-L-L-I-N-I. All right, there's the three I's. $15 seconds to go. I-L-L-I-N-I. So close. 5 seconds to go. I-L-L-I-N in 4, 3, there it is! Well done. Congratulations. You spelled Illini. Put them in the correct order. Stop by the marketing table to claim your prize. Let's give our contestants another big round of applause.
welcome back in for Big Ten Gymnastics. Illinois and Michigan. We are on rotation 2, where Michigan will now be on the vault, and Illinois will be on the uneven parallel bars. Touch period has just finished, so we're about to get underway. For lineups for Michigan, Brooke Parker, Rima Zakaria, Talia Schiarelli, Saji Sujiyama, Joanna Sampson, Austin Shepard, and Bariley Casanova. And for the University of Illinois, Jordan Alway, Amber C., Gianna O'Connor, Elizabeth McNabb, Sarah Fiedler, Sunny Cato, and Mary Jane Holt. Here's Brooke Parker, the junior from Virginia, transfer from University of Alabama.
A bit of a slight step on her landing, but all around great vault. She seems excited. First up for the Illini, we have Jordan Noway on bars, and she always starts in this position. She has since the beginning of last year, her sophomore year, because of her consistency. She's a very clean gymnast, and she can pull out a very consistent score for the Illini to start out.
For the Illini, Jordan Noway.
Here's Nailway from Vernon Hills, Illinois.
Great finish for Jordan. You can see why she's in that spot for consistency. First up.
9.75 for Brooke Parker. And here's Rima Zakaria for the Wolverines. Zakaria, a senior from Florida, was named Big Ten Event Specialist of the Week for last week, along with teammate Nicole Arts.
Great vault all around. You can tell her chest was down, which affected her step on the landing, but overall, great vault for the Michigan Wolverines.
Look to her for beam later tonight, as she posted a 9.9 her last time out, one of her career bests. And so if you're waiting to see very good talents on the beam, she's one to definitely look out for.
Jordan Noway scored a 9.725, and following her will be Amber C., a senior who competes all around. She's starting out with that famous college mount I talked about earlier. So far, very clean routine. Very minimal mistakes. And a stuck landing for the Illini.
Perfect stuck dismount for Illinois. Two in a row, she set the bar pretty high for her teammates and other competitors between her vault and her uneven parallel bars. Here's Schiarelli for the Wolverines.
Yurchenko layout full and a stuck landing. That's something that definitely college athletes, gymnasts look for when they're doing any routine. They want those stick landings. That's, you want to do the skills that they're doing out there the most clean, and that stick landing can be winning something and not winning it, or going to a championship or not going to a championship. It's a big difference when it comes down to it.
Absolutely. Here's Gianna O'Connor, sophomore from Streamwood, Illinois.
And Amber C. scoring a 9.7 on bars.
So is it just preference for where a gymnast would start for the uneven parallel bars? For example, like when nail weight starts versus others, or is there an advantage to one?
There definitely is an advantage. It's just how your routine is set up. Here's something Gianna is famous for because of her height on that skill. And a slight step, but definitely a great routine from Gianna.
Shirley with a 9.825 for Michigan. Here's Sujiyama for the vault.
This is one of the biggest vaults that you'll see all day. Yurchenko 1.5. She does it beautifully.
Teammates loving her after that one. Seems like it's been a pretty consistent vault for Michigan as we take a look at the replay here.
Yeah, they've had very minimal mistakes throughout all their gymnasts competing so far. They're definitely trying to pick it up from their bar rotation. And on bars, O'Connor got a 9.725, and up next is Elizabeth McNabb, a senior from Indiana.
Elizabeth McNabb.
Good handstand from McNabb. And a great routine. Slight step again, but overall great routine for McNabb.
That's what you expect from a senior, just setting the pace for the rest of their teammates going into this uneven parallel bars.
Honestly, I would just say leadership throughout everything, inside, outside the gym, on a certain event. In general, leadership. That's what underclassmen need.
Joanna Sampson just on the vault there.
Being one of their top all-arounders, you can tell why she's anchored for both vault and bars. It shows a lot about her gymnastics overall and an all-around competitor.
Absolutely.
Joanna Sampson starting vault for the Wolverines, 9.85.
Up next for the Illini, we have Sarah Fiedler.
Up next for the Illini, Sarah Fiedler.
Dismount from Sarah Fiedler.
Great to see from Fiedler there as we check out the replay.
There's no questions about that dismount. That was stuck. Elizabeth McNabb got a 9.775 on bars.
Here's Austin Shepard from Murphy, Texas.
Something about watching her vault and warm up, she soars through the air. It looks like she's floating, which is why I think she can stick that.
A correction on Elizabeth McNabb's score for Illinois on uneven bars, 9.775.
Anchoring for the Illini, we have Sunny Cato. She's a junior, and there's a reason why she's in this spot, and it's because of her beautiful lines. You'll see, everything looks so natural for her when she's up on the bars.
Competing for the Illini on uneven bars, Sunny Cato.
especially for the judges too. It's a lasting impression that they can get.
For the entire team that just competed at that event, yes. Great routine for Sunny.
Cato with another Illinois step landing. Sarah Fiedler's score on the Neiman bars for Illinois, 9.75. Austin Shepard
9.75 for Fiedler.
9.80. Now on home for the Wolverines, Riley Casanova.
Casanova here for the Wolverines, finishes her vault. And for Illinois, we'll go with Mary Jane Horth.
This is a great spot for Mary Jane. She's coming back from a Achilles tear, and so being able to get out there and compete as a freshman before she gets in the lineup is a great opportunity. It gives her confidence, so when she does have to take over a spot in lineup, she'll be more prepared mentally and physically. And a 9.8 from Sunny Cato.
Up next for Illinois, Mary Jane Horth. Mary Jane Horth with another Illinois.
Stuck dismount for Mary Jane. She's definitely proving herself each week in that exhibition spot. She could take over at any point.
How can you build from this moving forward? You've had two really consistent rotations here for both teams.
Yeah, it comes down to that 1/10, those landings, every little slight knee bend, toe flex. It comes down to those little points.
Close one here at Huff Hall. Here's the vault results for Illinois. Gianna O'Connor having the highest with 9.850. Pretty good overall vault results here for Illinois. As we look to the Wolverines, we'll have their scores next.
Mary Jane Horth's score on uneven bars for Illinois.
And for the bars results for the Michigan Wolverines, we have Nicole Arts and Shelby Guys both getting 9.825s for the highest scores.
Coaches, when you're ready for the judge period to begin, please signal.
We'll be right back. We're going to go to rotation number 3. It's the Illini and Wolverines coming up right after this.
The 3-minute 30-second touch warm-up period will now begin. The 3-minute 30-second touch warm-up period will now begin. Fans, don't forget to head over to the marketing table to answer tonight's trivia question. Tonight's question is, last meet versus Iowa, Illinois posted one of the best team scores in program history. Where did that score rank all time? Was it A, 6, B, 8, or C, 10? We'll draw one correct answer after this rotation. Good luck. The touch warm-up period is now over. The touch warm-up period is now over.
Welcome back into Huff Hall. It is the third rotation here. It's the Illini and the Wolverines. Looking at the bar results here from the last rotation for Illinois, you have Seti Kato with the highest out of all of them with a 9.8. Elizabeth McNabb with a 9.775 in second place for those.
And for the vault results, we have Sachi Sugiyama getting a 9.9, the top vault score for through the Illini and Michigan, which isn't a surprise because I mentioned her great difficulty on that vault. She's known for that vault throughout the Big Ten, so she definitely deserves that position.
Looking at the lineups here for our third rotation for Illinois. On the beam, we have Gianna O'Connor, Amber C., Elizabeth McNabb, Emily Lennon, Sarah Fiedler, Sunny Cato, and the exhibition is Kelsey Eberly. And for Michigan, we have Talia Shirelli, Sachi Sujiyama, Brooke Parker, Nicole Arts, Rima Zakaria, Joanna Sampson, and the exhibition is Lindsay Williams.
Ever since the beginning of Gianna's career here with the Illini, she's had this position on beam, and it is because of her consistency on this event.
O'Connor, the sophomore from Streamwood, Illinois.
A press mount that shows strength and beauty at the same time.
Best beam score of her for her career is a 9.85. Done it 3 times, last versus Ball State and UIC back in March of last year.
Starting with her series, which means 2 connecting flips, slight wobble, but just covering it up and continuing her routine.
That's half the battle there too, is as much as you can simply fall over, it's that extra effort to just show the judges that you want to be here, that you care. It's good to see.
Oh, definitely. We'll probably see examples tonight, but there's a lot of times girls can just jump off the beam because they thought they were off in the middle of a skill, but you have to fight in the skill and at the end of it to stay on that beam. It's a constant battle up on that apparatus. Full turn, which is required for every athlete up on the beam. Just a few slight wobbles from Gianna, but so far a very consistent routine for the Illini. And a great stuck finish for the Illini.
Big smile there from the judge. Maybe that can go in her favor. She's won the beam title twice in her career.
Now competing for the Wolverines on the floor, Talia Shirelli.
Now we have Talia Shirelli on the floor as we see the replay of O'Connor's dismount.
It's fun to see athletes' personalities come out on floor.
Art, the freshman from Michigan. 2-time Big Ten freshman of the week. Her best floor was just recently in January on the 10th, a 9.9 at Iowa State.
Double kite, which is a very common pass in college gymnastics. Strong start for the Wolverines on the floor.
Gianna O'Connor's score for Illinois on balance beam, 9.70.
Up next on beam, we have Amber C., a senior all-around gymnast for the Illini.
And a 9.7 there for Gianna O'Connor.
Now competing for Illinois, Amber C.
Amber actually made up all of her dance for her beam routine, which is unusual for the Illini. Usually head coach Kim Landers will do that, but one day she felt like changing it up, so of course Kim Landers had to approve it, but it's all Amber.
When you get the opportunity to do that, it kind of really allows you to showcase, like you mentioned, your personality, and mainly you see that on the floor, but to be able to do that as well as she does on the beam is really fun to watch.
Definitely.
C's career high is a 9.85. Last against Minnesota last year in February, almost a year to the date, February 9th. Great finish for her. The crowd getting into it here.
For Michigan, 9.725. Now competing for the Wolverines.
9.725 for Shirley on the floor as we take a look at Amber C. Get a great shot there for interacting with her teammates, coordinating her dance.
Finishing with a double pipe. A few mistakes, but the Wolverine should be happy with that.
Amber C score on balance beam for Illinois, 9.75.
9.75 for Amber C on her last beam attempt.
Now competing for the Illini on beam.
And we have Elizabeth McNabb for the Illini up on beam.
Great finish there by Sujiyama to finish it off. Her career high for that floor is a 9.9. Let's look to see what the judges give her on her last attempt.
I think an athlete who competes beam needs confidence, because if you're up there shaking in your boots, no judge is going to give you a high score. They want to see that you own that beam, in a sense.
Absolutely. And you mentioned it a little bit earlier before the broadcast that some of these judges have been following these athletes for their entire career. So does that factor in there, and especially when they see you competing at such a high level and trying your hardest, as you mentioned?
Definitely. I mean, one of the great things about that, it gives you a sense of comfort, because you know the judge and you can almost interact with them when you salute the judge. But I know from my own personal experience, there's a judge here, Donna Jean Jones. She made up all of my floor routine dance and has judged me since the age of 7. So it's fun to see everyone. There's a lot of gymnasts and there's a lot of coaches out there, but it's definitely a small world when it comes to gymnastics.
Great finish for her there.
Sujiyama score on the floor for Michigan, 9.60. Now competing, Brooke Parker.
Sujiyama at a 9.60, and now we look to Brooke Parker.
It would be hard not to know everyone's routines on your team just because you see them and hear the music so often.
And if you're a road team like Michigan is, and you have music like this that the crowd can relate to. How big of an advantage is that, especially being on the road?
I wouldn't see it as that big an advantage, because if you can't dance to their team and you have that type of music, then you're not going to bring the crowd in and interact with them and your teammates, which brings so much fun to the sport. But it definitely, if you can interact with the crowd and own that routine with popular music that everyone hears on the radio today, it's great. Throw that in your routine. Why not? Anything you can do to get those extra brownie points, I guess you could say. All past 3 Wolverines have ended with that pass, so it seems to be a theme without them. We'll see if they keep that up.
Score on balance beam for the Atlanta, 9.825. Now competing for the Emily Lennon.
And we have Emily Lennon, a freshman, competing for the Illini.
And a 9.825 for McNabb on her last attempt on the beam.
Something interesting about her routine is that she will not put her hands on the beam. All of her skills are done no-handed. That's just a unique fact. It adds something to remember her routine by.
Is that superstition? Is it just the technique she's done her whole life?
It's actually due to an old injury. So when she was not in college, they just revolved her routine around no hands, and it seemed to work for her. So they kind of just kept up the rhythm of that no-handed routine. The Melandris seems to like it if she has her in lineup. You almost want to see a little bit of attitude with that confidence on beam. Slight stop, but overall, a great routine.
9.775 for Parker on her last floor, as we see the replay here for Lennon. Nicole Arts now competing on the floor.
For any college athlete. See her teammates on the sidelines.
There's an aspect of the floor that you don't see in the men's gymnastics, where the whole teammates and the gymnasts themselves can really get involved and display some dance skills to get the crowd going, to get their energy back up. It's a nice added touch.
Right, and that makes you feel like it's almost a team effort. She wouldn't be having as much fun out there if she didn't know her teammates are on the sidelines, dancing with her, cheering her on. It's almost like the routine isn't complete unless they're there.
And for such an individualistic sport that gymnastics can be, the college level is really a cool way to get a team involved when, in certain scenarios, if you're training, let's say for the Olympics, if you're someone like a Sean Johnson who goes extremely individual throughout their whole career, this you get a team aspect.
Now competing for Illinois, Sarah Fiedler.
Up for the Illini, we have Sarah Fiedler. She'll do a unique series, which will be 3 flips in a row coming up first. Something fun about watching this skill is just how fast she does it. And with no wobbles, as you can see.
Flawless there for Fiedler.
The score for
Great
Echo
routine
Arts,
for Sarah
Michigan
Fiedler.
floor exercise, 9.875.
As you can see in the replay, a slight hop, but no other big deductions on that routine.
A 9.875 for Nicole Arts on the floor, and now we look to Rima Zakaria.
This is an athlete that definitely gets into her floor dance, and you can tell by her facial expressions, her body language. Having a little fun there. This is definitely a more hip-hop routine. Can't do hip-hop, I wouldn't recommend music for it. It definitely wasn't one of my strengths. One way to bring in the crowd.
Absolutely.
Chest down. Probably just didn't have enough power in that last pass. But a very enthusiastic ending.
Fiedler with a 9.775 on the beam as we look at the finish here on the floor by Zakaria.
Sunny starts with shows her grace in that amount and her flexibility. Anything you can add to spark the judges' interest is definitely something you should add into your routine. Just like her bars, you can tell one skill flows from the other to the next. And just one skill after another, and it seems like her routine is so easy for her. Anyone can do it. Stuck dismount for the finger with the Illini.
Cato, the junior from California. 9.80 on the last floor attempt of Zakaria.
We have the all-arounder we talked about earlier, Joanna Sanson. She's anchored for every event so far for the Wolverines.
And I think you want to see that as if you're the Wolverines, just because she's such a consistent gymnast that to really anchor for you and put that final say and final attempt so gracefully for the judges is probably a big advantage.
And that first pass shows why she was in the anchor position. We didn't see, it's the first time we've seen that today.
Sampson's best floor score, the 9.975. February 16th of last year against Penn State. Sampson was the Big Ten Women's Gymnast of the Year last year, and just has a very acclaimed record of just how good she really is.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that last pass. Fun ending. Probably isn't even painful for her anymore. Nice belly flop on the floor. We have Kelsey Eberly coming up on beam next. She's the exhibition for Illinois.
9.825 for Sunny Cato.
Up next for the Illini, Kelsey Eberly.
Slight wobble. Just another opportunity to show Kim Landers that she can compete on this event for the Illini and put up a great score for them.
Absolutely.
Coming up is a dismount that usually tricks the crowd. It's a backflip, but she's moving forward and a spec dismount. Doesn't seem to trick her up.
Perfect execution there. Good for her to get some reps in the exhibition spot. We can take a look at that one again. A 9.925 for Sampson on her last floor exercise. Here's Lindsey Williams to close out the third rotation.
Another familiar song that we all must know from the radio. Great job for the Wolverines.
Eberly with a 9.725 on the beam as we take a look here at Williams' last pass. We're done with rotation 3 here, and moving ahead, what have you seen from Illinois in terms of their composure going into this final rotation?
I think they have good composure going into this last rotation. Floor is one of the most fun events. It's a reason why we end on it. It's a reason why we don't go, floor then beam. They're confident in this event because they have so much fun with it and because of their past scores and meets on this event. There shouldn't be any surprises with their consistency on floor.
We'll have scores for you in just a second.
Fun fact about the Illini is that they pick a word every year that has the letter I in it. So at the end of their huddles, and it's an inspirational word, so this year they picked limitless because their goals are limitless.
Here are the beam results for Illinois. High scorers are Liz McNabb, 9.825, along with Sunny Cato, 9.825. All around good effort for them as they enter their final rotation.
And for the Michigan Wolverines, Joanna Sampson with a 9.925, which comes to no surprise because of her great all-around spot and being an anchor for the Wolverines on one of their best events.
We're just about to get underway here in the fourth rotation, but we're going to take a quick break first. We'll be right back.
The 3-minute 30-second touch warm-up period will now begin. The 3-minute 30-second touch warm-up period will now begin. All right, fans, it's time to announce our trivia winner tonight. We were looking for where last meet's team score ranked all time. And the answer is A, 6th place all time. That means our winner today is Melissa Taggart. Melissa, please head to the promotions table at the north end to claim your prize.
Welcome back to Huff Hall. Here are the scores so far. Michigan leading 146.95 to 146.675.
Coming down to it, every 10th either Michigan or Illinois makes is going to affect the all-around here. With only, 3/10 behind, they can easily pick it up, or they can lose their spot. It depends who brings their A game for this last event.
And many of the chances they've had, both teams finishing each apparatus, they've had a lot of perfect landings.
Right.
And so it's really, you look at the judging and how it's those little tiny details that can really get you in the end, like you've mentioned, because they've all had almost perfect stuck landings.
Right. So we'll see what each team brings to the table.
The always exciting fourth rotation here. Michigan will be on the balance beam, and Illinois will be doing floor exercises. First for Michigan on the beam, we have Nicole Arts. With her team having a slight lead entering this fourth rotation, look for her to keep the consistency that the Wolverines have presented all night going, and edging this one out for her team here with a good start. And if you're behind in this type of meet where it's so close, what do you say? What's the motivation to get you over the hump if you're Illinois here, having it so close and it coming down to a floor exercise?
I'd say the motivation isn't about the scores. You want to do the best you can do for the team. You want your highest. I know one thing that Kim Landers always said when I was on the team is, look out for our team. Don't worry about Michigan's scores, because at the end of the day, winning them or beating them or losing to them isn't going to affect our all-around team score throughout the season.
Judges have gotten in place, and we're just about to get underway here for Michigan on the balance beam.
Starting with a mount like Sunny Cato. Starting with a front aerial. Very unique series. Not a typical where they do two flips in the same direction. She did one flip forward and then went backwards. And they stuck dismount. Great start for the Wolverines. As we move to floor with Jordan Nalway.
Here's Nailway for the Illini.
Starting with a double pike. Looks like she had a little over rotation there. something different about Jordan's routine is her choice of music. It's definitely a lot slower. Michigan had more upbeat, very modern music, but hers is slower where she can be more graceful with a little bit of sass, so that's fun to see.
You wonder if that plays in a judge's decision making, just because it's much more traditional music, maybe something they're used to seeing on the floor versus this fast-paced new style that some gymnasts use for their floor exercise with their dance or passes in general, just because of the speed and style of the music.
Right. I guess you can't please everyone, but that's definitely something you have to look into the judge's eyes. Do they want a booty shaking routine, or do they want something more traditional? Because typically judges have been around for a long time.
Now competing for the Wolverines, Tanya Shirelli.
Here's Shirelli for the Wolverines.
A double back dismount, which is not found in anyone on the Illini team or either college gymnastics that often. We have Kelsey Eberly, a junior from Pennsylvania, going up for the Illini second. The more dramatic routine.
This is the last one that was in class.
finishing with the new pass for Eberly. She added that extra flip at the end, which is great to see.
Good start here for Eberly.
Michigan
9.70 for Shirelli.
We have Shelby Geis on beam.
Good routine here for Geis.
Stuck dismount. She seems pumped about it.
Teammates loving that one. Seems like a consistent theme here with a stuck dismount as we see the replay here.
We have Sarah Fiedler on floor. Her last event for the Illini today after all the other three.
Now competing for the Illini, Sarah Fiedler.
Her routine is probably one of the crowd's favorite here for the Illini.
Fiedler's highest floor is a 9.825 at Michigan State this year in January. Little kid in the background loving this one, dancing along to it.
Told you it gets the crowd moving.
Salsa time here on the floor.
Finishing for the Illini, Sarah Fiedler.
The score for Shelby Geis of Michigan on beam 9.85.
9.85 for Geis on the beam.
Showing Sarah Fiedler's last pass there in the replay. What I find interesting is that some teams choose their music in the background of their beam routines because it adds consistency to being up on an event that is so nerve-wracking, and you can kind of tell a little bit about their personalities just by the music that they pick on this event, which is in a swipe bobble.
Good recovery though for her.
Definitely. At this point, any 10th counts, and Michigan, even if they just don't want to beat the Illini, they want to beat their individual score. And fortunately, a fall for the Wolverines.
Tough blow there, and remember, 5 out of the 6 scores will count, so anything else that the Wolverines falter on will have to factor into their final score, which is a big change that can put the lead in favor of the Illini.
Unless they don't count her score. You just have to hope that every girl in the lineup after Rima is going to pull through.
Puts a lot more pressure on the team as a whole.
Especially ending on beam, the most nerve-wracking event.
Sarah Fiedler's score for Illinois on floor exercise, 9.80.
Here's the replay there, 9.80 for Fiedler on her floor exercise. And here's Gianna O'Connor.
A sophomore from Streamwood, Illinois.
And how has she grown as a gymnast, being put into a big role last year as a freshman? What have you really seen from her?
What I've seen from her is she's always been physically capable of doing everything that she's out on the floor doing, but I think mentally she's grown as an athlete because her nerves have gone down. She's more confident with herself in the competitions and about even letting a team down. That's a lot of pressure, and to have that on as a freshman competing the all-around, she's definitely come to realization that the team is, as long as you do your best, they're going to be proud of you, and that's something that growing up and not being an underclassman for much longer is definitely something that grows on you.
Second pass here.
Oh, and unfortunately, a mess up for O'Connor.
Seemed to recover pretty quickly, but a costly error there.
Right, so it looks like the Illini and Wolverines will only be pulling from 5 scores instead of 6, because they'll count those falls as a score that will not contribute to their all-around. Finishing strong, though. Mistakes like that happen, so
yeah,
it's all part of the nature of the sport. And from what I've witnessed from practice, it's never happened. So you know it's a freak accident when you never see it in practice.
Here's a replay there.
Have a great last pass. Up next, we have Joanna Sampson up for the Wolverines.
Sampson on the beam, her highest with a 9.925 on January 31st of this year against Michigan State.
It's great to see Joanna in this spot, especially after a fall, just because they have to pick it up, and with a credited all-arounder, it's great to see her there. It's called a sheep jump, where you look backwards and have no idea where you're going to land after that.
And that's going to be pretty nerve-wracking, especially as you mentioned after a fall, to try that kind of skill. But for her, she's so confident, so consistent in what she does, it's second nature.
Finish off a dismount with what we like to call round out double full. A few little steps there. We'll see how much they deduct her for that.
Sampson proving herself as a senior leader here tonight, as we mentioned in the Open, with a great finish there.
And we have Erin Buchanan, a freshman who definitely deserves to be in the floor lineup. What I like most about her music is the fact that it was supposed to be my floor music and how I never made up a routine to it. So to see someone who's so successful on this event and pull together a routine with dance and everything, it's just so much fun to see that. See the finished project and her do it well and achieve great things with it.
Waiting for the scores here on that last beam attempt before we get started with Buchanan on the floor.
The hold up on floor probably is just this. Judges are probably, trying to figure out a score, and they have to have a little meeting about it because they could have different opinions on the start value, which is out of a 10.0, or are they going to start her at a lower value even before she starts her routine? So that's kind of what we're seeing here. It's a delay for the athlete and kind of throws off your mental preparation for the event, but they do practice these things when they're in Kenny Gym.
A 9.775 for Joanna Sampson.
Looks like they're ready to start her up.
These teams so close tonight. Every little decision by each judge matters, and you saw just how much time they took there just to make sure that they were in agreement and got it right, because all these units have been putting a tremendous effort together tonight.
Right. Our little judges conference didn't seem to phase her on that first pass.
Second pass for her.
They round off on it and half punch layout. sometimes it isn't comfortable for every gymnast to go out there and smile throughout their entire routine. So that's something else that gymnasts have to practice while they're in their practice gyms, because it wears you out a lot more than you would think to be able to smile during a minute and a half floor routine and then have to tumble and do dance. So they make sure that you smile in practice. Strong finish for Buchanan.
Great finisher, her doing your music proud.
Definitely. Couldn't be more proud.
Briley Casanova here on beam.
Front tuck. A difficult skill, takes up the whole length of the beam there.
Casanova, a sophomore from Dallas, Texas, choosing to come to Michigan for some cold weather.
Still wondering why she would do that, but I guess not every decision is revolved around the weather.
NCAA semifinals last year had a 9.750 on the balance beam.
And finished with a stuck dismount. Team seems proud of that one.
Very fitting for her. Now 9.875 is a career high back in February of last year. So she's proving her worth once again with that perfect stuck landing.
And now we have Amber C., a senior. And she will anchor for the Illini. And after you see this routine, you'll see why.
Next to compete for the Illini, Amber C.
A gymnast in her position as a senior, how long would you usually keep the same music and specific routine for your passes?
Typically, it's every 2 years. Routines can change, actually. Any meet can change. The skills in them, depending on difficulty. But usually what you practice is what you're going to compete. But as for the music, it's every 2 years. But Amber is a special case where she didn't really feel like she could express herself with her old music from her junior year. So she switched this year to a new floor routine her senior year. That was a long process, I know, but she seems to be really enjoying this routine, and that's something you want in college gymnastics, is enjoy your time out there. You can't be uncomfortable with a floor routine.
Final pass here.
And she added in that extra flip at the end from last weekend.
Amber C. Rising confident score for Michigan on mean 9.75.
9.75 for Casanova as we see the replay of C's final pass.
Very tricky mount, but did it flawlessly.
Here's Shepard for the Wolverines.
Past two girls have been from Texas, so they all wanted to come to the cold weather.
Never understood that one. And you have Sunny Cato for Illinois and California, and great schools, great programs, but weather is a big factor, and it's a big culture shock, especially these last few weeks in Illinois. Freezing temperatures and a tremendous amount of snow.
I know Sonny Cato wasn't prepared for freshman year. It was a big culture shock. Slight step, but
Amber C score for Illinois on floor exercise, 9.80.
9.80 for Amber C.
and we have Heather Foley finishing off the competition with an exhibition on floor.
Up next for Illinois on floor exercise, Heather Foley.
Foley posting a 9.85 back in March of last year as her highest score for the floor, both against Ball State and UIC.
A little wink there.
Just making sure the judges are paying attention.
It is definitely a good wake-up call. Sometimes you can tell a lot about a team's lineup by their exhibition spot, because if every team doesn't seem like it should be in the exhibition spot, it just goes to show how strong their lineup is. This routine you wouldn't expect could be, you would think it would be in lineup.
Depth is key when you're trying to compete against these top teams like Michigan, and so moving forward you can see how well she does to plug her in, like you mentioned, in any key situation down the line.
Great last pass to Heather Foley.
Heather Foley.
And overall, the Illini seem excited.
Austin Shepard's score on balance beam for Michigan, 9.70.
9.70 for Shepard on her last beam attempt in the exhibition. As we look at a replay of Foley's final pass. And looking at this final rotation, what do you think the biggest thing that Illinois got out of it?
I think the biggest thing that they got out of it is just proving to themselves even more for later in the season that if they have one mistake, is to pull forward, and you want to take each event individually. You don't want to think about the past events. Focus on your event and just keep moving forward with a positive attitude.
And similar for Michigan, as they had a fall on the beam as well?
Definitely. They want to forget about beam, and don't forget about it, because they'll be doing extra numbers in practice because of those falls, but just kind of don't dread on it. You're going to move on. Just go on to the next event with positive attitude and know what you did was your best work.
And you talk about these two teams very close in this meet in particular, but you also look at what they're doing outside of the meets themselves, and you have a big initiative, cancer awareness last week for the Illini, and for Michigan you had autism night at their last meet against Michigan State. So being a member of collegiate gymnastics, how special are those kind of theme nights that really allow you to immerse yourself in the community and not just strictly in the sport of gymnastics?
It adds an extra bonus to the meets. It adds a purpose. Not that the girls don't have enough purpose to be out there and competing their best, but last year the Illini girls were doing it for those girls whose parents were dealing with cancer. So it's an awesome thing to see and experience.
Here are the floor results. We have Sarah Fiedler with a 9.8 as her highest score. Or Buchanan actually with a 9.825 as the highest. A good all-around result in terms of floor if you're Illinois. And if there's one thing you look at for Michigan, having an undefeated record, their beam performance today, did you see any other flaws with them?
For today, I think Michigan being undefeated, it's just a confidence booster, and hopefully they can continue that throughout the season.
That'll do it for us here at Huff Hall. For Nikki McGarrell, I'm Joey Gelman. Have a great night.